All right, guys. So it's mid-June. We're back by Fluken, and I'll be honest. I have been fishing for about maybe a minute, and I actually hook up with the biggest fish of the day in just a moment here. So, as usual, I am fluking with a half-ounce Spurl bucktail, relatively shallow water, between 6 feet to like 25 feet. With a dropper loop and about a 3/0 bait holder hook, using Gulp Shrimp. I think it's either a natural or a molting color, but it has like a blue-gray hue, and they were really hitting on this good today. So my drag was a little loose here. I probably should have tightened it a little earlier, but anyway, this was a good fish. I'm using a Centaur, 6'5". It's either a light or an ultralight spinning rod, and I really like the action on this rod. For the reel, I'm using a Penn Clash. Yeah, Penn Clash, probably about a 2500 size. And for leader, I'm using 25-pound Flourocarbon.
In the net. Good fluke, Lou. He's got to be 22 inches at least.
Really happy with my net, by the way. I tried probably 3 different nets. I ordered to my shop, Long Island Outdoorsman, from different brands. I had tried a Kayak specific net, a different specific net just for kayaks, and then this telescopic Ranger net. And I'm super happy with this particular net. This is technically not a kayak net, it's just a basic boat net, but it's got a wide hoop on it. It's got a deep net, so if you
have a tape measure,
bluefish that you need to get in there, they'll get in there.
You have to come over and get it.
But it's not too big, where it's, because on the kayak you want it to be compact, but you also don't want it too small.
I forgot mine too.
Get a fish in it. So this
but I know mine's a keeper.
And,
Positive.
It stows away nicely into my little cargo box.
I mean, what do you think?
When I return back to shore, and as you can see, that's a 22-inch fluke.
Yeah, buddy.
So I forgot my tape measure in my cargo box on the trailer, and I had no way to measure the fish today. So unless they were like obviously a keeper, we had to let all the borderline ones go. So it worked out. I didn't really personally catch a lot of fish that were borderline. They were either like really over 19 inches or maybe like 17 and a half. So it kind of worked out. I ended up not having to let any fish go that I thought were borderline. Yeah, I'm getting a peck. So you can see what I'm doing now is like I'm feeding him a little line because the fish was biting short and he ended up coming back. So most likely that was the same fish. This is a short. What a great fluke season. 2024 has been the year of really good fluke fishing. This is going to be a season to remember. I didn't get any monsters this season, but I mean keepers on every trip. Just fantastic fluke fishing. Absolutely fantastic. This is a new camera setup for me. I'm using my DJI Osmo, and I am using a ram mount, I believe. It's like a pretty long mount. I think it's either 24 or 32 inches. I think it's the 32. I think I have the 32 inch, and it has all different types of ways that you could bend it and get it to the perfect angle. And I'm pretty happy with the footage. I have been using the camera mount on my head, and I actually took footage of this entire trip, but I really wasn't that happy with the way it looked. I thought about maybe splicing in some footage from that angle, and it just wasn't as good. I really like this mount. It's not in the way. I mean, it's a little in the way, I guess. You know, sometimes I have to work the rod around the camera or whatever, but it's not really in the way. I like it. I mean, I'm mindful that it's there, and I just kind of work around it. Yeah, I'm feeding them line again.
Fish on.
There we go. The next upgrade I got to do on the kayak is I got to upgrade the power cable for the trolling motor. It's not good, and it's one of the complaints on the Old Town Autopilot is that it has, this is a pretty decent short right here. This fish is probably like 17 inches.
What you say about the GoPro?
Yeah, so it's one of the main complaints about this
I can't hear
kayak
anything
is
with
that
this
the
fish
power
flapping around.
plug
What was that?
that attaches to the receptacle in the hull, it's just a bad connection. It's just not good. Like, I have to play with mine a little bit, and I know like the exact position it needs to be in, so I don't have motor failure.
This
when
one
I'm out
like
there,
swallowed my bucktail.
like, it's just annoying to like have to like worry about and deal with. So I watched some YouTube videos, and I wish I remembered the guy's name.
This fish is not going to live.
If you YouTube it, you'll find where one of the guys uses a Minn Kota MKR 26, which has now been replaced by the MKR 28. And it's a super heavy duty plug. It's something like you'd use on a John boat or a bass boat. I mean, it's like a real plug, and it has a dial that you could turn and lock it in. Basically a lock ring. So that's something that I want to upgrade to. I actually already have it. I just have to install it. I got to get the hole saw out and cut the hole and run the wires and do all that nonsense. So just haven't gotten around to it. I have a trip coming up in July. I'm going to be taking this kayak down to the Chesapeake Bay Bridge and Tunnel, Virginia Beach, and I got to get my power plug installed and ready for that trip. So that's my deadline.
Huh?
Another decent short. A lot of action this morning. We got there super early. All right, so here I am making a move, and almost instantaneously I get a bite.
Good fish.
I am in 6 feet of water.
Good fish. Unless he's foul hooked, he's fighting pretty good.
Probably the shallowest I ever caught a keeper fluke.
Keeper. Got him.
This fish ended up being 20 inches.
He's in the boat.
And this was my last keeper for the day. Although I did
wow, 9 feet of water.
have some pretty good action after this.
Another nice fish.
This spot has been producing really well. We've been pounding it pretty much every day. And it just keeps producing.
Louis.
So I made a move again. That was the only fish I caught on that drift. And finding some more action. I'm in the same general area. I'm just kind of choosing different lanes, and different depths, and I caught them in all different depths. I probably caught fish from 6 feet to as deep as maybe 20 or 25. They were just kind of scattered about. Another thing I want to mention is I caught the very end of the outgoing tide this morning, and the current was very lazy, which means I only had maybe like a half a mile per hour drift, maybe less. So I was actually utilizing the trolling motor to kind of power drift a little bit, and that was working out really well. So I'm constantly making, you may not see it on camera, but while I was fishing, I was constantly making adjustments to the motor and really fine-tuning the drift and getting the kayak positioned exactly how I wanted it. You know, whether it's the edge of the channel or a drop-off or whatever, you know, spot I wanted to hit. You know, with the kayak, you have really good control over how you're drifting. And then also, if I get a bite and miss a fish, or if I catch a really good fish and I want to stay in that location, I have spot lock. So I could spot lock myself and stay in that area, that exact position actually. Yeah, so I don't drift off and then have to motor back. Notice the slow lift. That's the best way to do it with the Fluke. Nice slow lift. And at this point, we're pretty much working our way back. It's a decent short. Probably about a 17-inch fish. Pretty sure when I started fishing, the minimum size was 17 to keep.
That's a good size.
And at the very end, right at the buzzer, my son Lewis ends up catching a nice cocktail blue, which we'll use for shark bait. So we kept him.
Now listen, I'm gonna start heading to shore.
And that's pretty much it for this trip. We were back at the dock by 8:45 in the morning. Ended up with 2 keepers and I don't know how many shorts, but a really productive trip. Thanks, guys.